In this video tutorial, let's take a look at the generative AI features that Adobe Photoshop has recently introduced. We'll cover everything that the AI can do and go over some practical use cases. Let's start with the Generative Expand feature. So I've opened up Photoshop Beta right now. I'm actually gonna upload this photo of myself in Vancouver from a couple years ago. It's a nice picture, but I don't like the fact that there's nothing to the right side of me. The photo looks like it got cut off, so let's use Generative Fill to fill in the rest of the image. We'll use the crop tool over here on the left menu bar. You can also just press C to activate the crop tool. I'm gonna drag the right side edge so that I'm in the middle of the image. There will be a contextual taskbar, which is used to access the AI features. If you don't see it, just go to Windows at the top of the interface and make sure contextual taskbar is selected. Now, we could enter a prompt here to help with filling in the empty space, but I'll just leave this empty for now. If we hit generate, Photoshop uses the existing picture to fill in the rest of the extended canvas. 3 separate variations will be generated by the AI model. Some of these look pretty good at a glance, but if we zoom in a bit, you'll see the buildings in the AI generated regions look somewhat misshapen. AI is still bad with really small structures and details in general. The generative fill creates a new layer for you, and if we go into the properties tab, we can enter a new prompt to generate. For example, I can ask for an opera house to be generated on my right. The results aren't exactly perfect. If you zoom out, they look okay, so it's probably more useful for images that'll be displayed on a smaller screen. The menu with 3 dots on top of the image icon has an option for generating similar images. So if you like one of the AI expanded regions but want to see some additional variations, this will create those for you. One cool thing that you can do with generative fill is create mockups for products. So if I take this watercolor painting I generated in Midjourney, and then use a crop tool to expand the borders to fill in the rest of the room. Inside the prompt box, I can prompt for mock-up of a watercolor painting framed on a wall inside a room. There's a window and couch and plants in the room. A couple of decent looking mock-ups are generated for us. We can also create mock-ups from different camera angles. Let's turn off the generated layer first. Back to the initial background layer, I'll use the rectangular selection tool to drag around the painting, and then press Ctrl T to use the transform tool. Right click and choose warp. From there, drag the corners of the painting so that it appears that we're looking at it from the side. Once I'm done with that, I'll use this invert selection option in the contextual taskbar to reverse the selected region from the watercolor painting to the blank white canvas around it. Then enter that same mockup prompt from earlier inside the contextual taskbar, and mockups of the painting shot from a side angle profile will be generated for us. By the way, inside the properties tab, if you hover over the generated regions, there's this enhance detail button. This sharpens the detail of the AI generated regions. The image with sharpened details does appear higher resolution, although the artifacts from AI generation still exist. Now let's go over the AI object removal options. Here's a photo from when I was at this concert in New York City. That's me in the middle with a blue hat, but it's kind of a crowded picture. I'd like to have some more space to myself, so I need to remove some of the people around me. There's a couple of different ways to remove crowds like this. First, I can simply use the rectangular selection tool, drag around an area with people in it, and then use the generative fill tool to fill in that area based on the surrounding context. In this image, that gets filled in with grass. If you want more fine-grained control though, we can use the object selection tool, which uses AI object detection to cleanly select the silhouette of objects. In this case, it'll be people. So if I hold down Shift and click, I can select multiple people at the same time. Once I'm happy with what I've got, I can remove them the same way as before using the Generative Fill AI, leaving the prompt box blank. It looks like a couple spots were missed by the AI. Let's clean that up with the rectangle selection tool again. Now, some regions are harder for the AI to detect. This half torso of a man escapes the detection, so we'll need another method to select him. This time, I'll use a magnetic lasso tool and carefully click around the outline of the subject. Magnetic lasso will try to follow the edges in the image, in this case, the silhouette of the man. Once that's done, Generative Fill can get him out of the picture. If we go back to our background layer, we do have the option of using the AI Remove tool, which gives you this brush that automatically replaces the area you paint over with other relevant parts of the image. The key thing to note is that this is a replacement tool, not generative fill. It'll try and fill in the regions you've selected with another part of the image, which can lead to some weird behavior, as you see here. Let's move on to generating different backgrounds using Photoshop AI. I'll start with this photo of Wednesday Addams and use Generative Expand to fill out the rest of her head. After a couple tries, I get an image like this that looks pretty reasonable. I'm gonna combine the initial image layer and the AI generated expansion by shift clicking to select both of them, and then right click to use the merge layer tool. Now I can simply remove the background. And then with the generate background tool, enter a prompt like photo of a girl inside a diner. To be honest, the background generation tool isn't great, at least not for human subjects. The colors and lighting on the background really don't match the subject at all. On their website and demo, they show some nice backgrounds for products like perfume bottles, so maybe those types of subjects work better. The Generative Fill tool actually worked a lot better for creating different backgrounds for me. Back to the original image, I'll use Select Subject to get the outline of the girl, and then reverse the selection again. Now inside the prompt, if I try photo of a girl inside a diner, it works way better than before. The atmosphere of the background and also the colors are much more aligned with the subject. We can try out some other prompts and see that it works decently, although the backgrounds do look fairly blurred for these. It's not going to do anything amazing, but for very simple backgrounds, it does work okay. Generative Fill allows us to do some cool things. For example, changing the hairstyle. If I use the lasso tool to drag a region around the hair on her head, it is possible to generate some different hairstyles like curly red hair. Here's a picture of Zendaya. I'm actually going to carefully select just her face with the lasso tool and swap out the rest of the image. Invert the selection and enter the prompt, photo of a woman with gold and emerald jewelry. She's inside a music parlor at night. It took a couple of tries, but I was able to get a few decent looking photos. The AI does a pretty good job of matching the lighting on her face with the generated background. You can also change clothing. I'll drag a selection around my t-shirt and arms and prompt for a red Hawaiian shirt with white floral patterns. The lighting actually matches decently well, although for a lot of them my neck looks way too long. The AI is still kinda hit and miss. There's plenty of room for improvement, but you can get some usable photos with enough tries. Next up, let's take a look at Adobe Firefly's text-to-image AI model that's being integrated with Photoshop. I'll open up a new file and use a widescreen resolution. In the contextual taskbar, I'll use Generate Image to access the AI image model. On the right, there's a bunch of example images with prompts attached to them. If you click on these images, it'll paste the prompt for them into the prompt box that you can use or make adjustments to. I actually like this photo of a baby orangutan, so I'll try out this prompt. In the content type, I'm going with art. You can attach a reference image, but I'll leave that blank for now. Then there's a bunch of different effects you can add. These are basically photo filters. I've picked bokeh, acrylic paint, and splattering. The results do look really colorful and vibrant. Comparing Firefly's AI image model with Midjourney though, it is lacking in terms of artistic flair and photorealism. In these photographs of a woman in a living room, the Firefly generated photo looks much more like a generic stock photo, although it does a decent job of following the prompt. When using Generative Fill, you can attach reference images for the AI to use. I've got this Teenage Ninja Turtle backpack I want to render onto myself. First, I'll select a region on my back where I want to add the turtle bag. I can use Generative Fill and then click on this image attachment icon. Then it's easy to upload the reference photo of the turtle backpack. The generated results won't look exactly like the reference photo, There are some resemblances in terms of the color, but it won't map the reference backpack exactly onto my back. One issue with these reference image generations is that the lighting, color, and saturation doesn't really match the background. This backpack looks too bright and saturated compared to the rest of the photo, which makes it look photoshopped. What I'll do is use a new adjustment brush to paint over the backpack so that it matches the rest of the image. First, I'll increase the brush size a bit, and then start painting over the bag. The default brightness is actually set to be higher in the brush region, so let me lower that down a bit with these sliders over here. If you want to check the region you painted over with the adjustment brush, just click the overlay button in this toolbar. I'm gonna add another adjustment layer, this time for the saturation and hue, because I feel like the colors on the backpack are too saturated right now. So I'll adjust the saturation slider and then paint over the bag. After painting over the backpack, it looks way more natural inside this image. You can also use the Apply to Object button to automatically detect objects and adjust the colors over the entire backpack all at the same time. There's also a really cool new AI lens blur tool that lets you adjust the focus of the background. Go to Filters, then Camera Raw Filter. In the interface that pops up, scroll down to Lens Blur and check the Apply box. The AI analyzes a photo and automatically blurs the background for you. You can choose between a bunch of different styles of blurring and also adjust the amount of blurring that's applied. As of recording this video, Adobe does have a 14-day free trial for its Creative Cloud, so you can test out all of these features for free. To try out Photoshop Beta, open up the Creative Cloud app, then head to Apps. The Beta tab will be at the top of the page. From there, you can download and test all the beta software that Adobe has to offer. So Adobe has introduced some pretty cool AI tools, but I can see why a lot of them are still in beta. There's extra polish that these features still need before they're up to the high quality standards that Adobe has for its other products. Unless if you already use Photoshop, I wouldn't purchase a subscription specifically to use these AI tools yet. That's just my opinion. If you want a tutorial on a high quality AI image generator, go and look at this complete guide I made for how to use Midjourney. Also, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more like this.